What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 41, everybody. This is going to be my last episode of the day. Man, I got all my rankings out, all my videos out for you guys. This one is going to be my kickers and defenses, top 10 each, because I don't see a lot of this content out there on YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that to help people decide their kickers and defenses for the week. Before we dive into it, guys, smash that like, turn that bell on, make sure that notification is on so when I go live. I'm also live 2 hours before every single game, going over starts, sits, trades. I answer all the questions you have in the comments. If you have any fantasy football questions, fire away. I try to get to them as fast as I can. And let's dive into it. So here is my board, guys. I'm not going to be using the baller tier or tier 3. I believe I'm going to use tier 1 for my top 5, tier 2 for my bottom 5 kickers, tier 4 and 5 for my top 5 and bottom 5 defenses. At the bottom, you're going to see the defenses and kickers that I took out from last week. So Greg Zuerlein and Evan McPherson are not in my top 10 this week. The Falcons defense, man, they didn't show up. The Bengals, I don't even want to talk about. I had them ranked high like a great stream play, and they choked. The Vikings played great, but I don't like their matchup this week. The Saints played great. I don't like their matchup this week. And Tampa Bay has Detroit. I'm keeping them off as well. To start it off here, guys, I mean, I had this guy on a do not start him versus Cleveland last week. Man, was I wrong. This guy, I'm just going to put him as number 1 kicker every single week. I was screaming at the television to please let this man kick that 70-yard field goal. He might make it, dude. He's been kicking 66s. He made the 66 when the whistle blew. They called a timeout. He had 5 yards on his last 66-yard kick. This guy could make a 70-yard field goal. They get the New Orleans Saints at home. It doesn't matter who they play. They'll let this guy kick from anywhere. Brandon Aubrey is a god kicker. He will always be my number 1 kicker. Book it. Start him every single time. Number 2, very impressive because I'm a Niner fan, and Jake Moody was really shaky last year. Jake Moody comes out and ties the 49ers record for 6 field goals in a game on Monday Night Football. This man won fantasy leagues last night by himself. 26 points is bananas. They get the Minnesota Vikings. This is another smash play for the 49ers here, 100%. Number 3 kicker is going to be Harrison Butker going up against the Cincinnati Bengals at home. The Ravens game I thought would be a lot more kicking. He was decent, but this game should be a full offensive attack. The Bengals defense is very, very bad, and he should absolutely feast this week. Number 4, the Baltimore Ravens. They get the Las Vegas Raiders. This is at home. This is just like the Chiefs I'm talking about here. This is going to be a game where they're ahead. Kicking is going to be immaculate. When you're looking at Justin Tucker and Harrison Butker week 1, the defenses were so good. The game was so tight. These are going to be games where they're actually ahead, and you'll get a lot more kicking volume. Number 5, kicker in my tier 1. The guy I told everyone to pick up last week because you want offenses that are powerful with kickers. And Kai Fairbairn just came out and made 3 50-yard field goals out the gates and had 15 points before half. This guy is a phenomenal kicker on a massively high-powered offense. It doesn't matter who they're playing. This is like a Brandon Aubrey thing to me with him. Actually, all 5 of these kickers, right? All 5 of these offenses are so powerful. You're starting all these guys all the time. But I'm going to rank them like this to start out with the top 5 row here. And Kai Fairbairn is going to absolutely feast this week again. They get the Chicago Bears. The Bears defense is stingy in the red zone. You'll probably get more field goal attempts here from Kai. Number 6 and number 7 we talk about together because it is the same game. It is Thursday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills at the Dolphins. This should be a shootout game. I mean, I thought the same thing with the Jacksonville game. It was close to a shootout game. This is going to be a Thursday night game, short week. Should be a lot more kicking than scoring, I believe. Like in the red zone, they start to struggle a little bit Thursday night, first Thursday night game, or second Thursday night game of the year. And I think you're going to see a lot of Tyler Bass and a lot of Jason Sanders in this game. Number 8 and 9. We're going to do a same game here again. I just realized that. Young Ho Koo and Jake Elliott are going at it Monday Night Football. And you know, in fantasy football, you always love having that last Monday night player. If they're on your wire, I hope the Falcons offense can bounce back a little bit here. I mean, they played a really, really tough Steeler defense. Like probably we'll get to the Steeler defense when I get to defenses. But that game was a grunge game, and the Steelers, all they did was kick. So if you look at that and you go back and you look at the Steelers game versus the Falcons week 1, how many points did he have? He had a ton. Now, if Jake Elliott gets the same situation, the Falcons defense is great. It could be a Jake Elliott massive kick game here on Monday night. The Eagles front is great. They're great in the red zone. Could be a great Young Ho Koo game here again. I have him at kicker 9. Number 10 was my sleeper kicker, and here he is. Jake Bates comes out, makes a 50-yarder as a rookie in his first game. Only 7 points, but it was a weird game between the Rams. McVay coached an absolute gem, kept them on the field. Their defense was supposed to be bad. They played great defense. I love Jake Bates for his Tampa Bay, and honestly, I love Jake Bates all the way through the rest of the seasons because the Lions' defense is great, and they have 14 games in a dome. And what do you want your kicker to be in? A dome. Heading over the defensive side, guys, this should be one of your top waiver wire priorities on defense. I'm not saying like blow fab or any crazy money on it, but if you're in like a waiver wire spot where you're in the 7th or 8th or 6th spot, they get the Carolina Panthers, man. And let's face it, the Chargers even put up 14 points. They were the 4th best defense against the Raiders. I didn't have them as a top defense last week. They showed up, they showed out. Now they get the worst offense in the league in the Carolina Panthers. I mean, if they have another bad game here, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, the Carolina Panthers have to look better than last week. I still think they're going to get rocked, throttled. This is going to be a Jim Harbaugh ground and pound run game once they get the lead, and that will keep the defense fresh, and the defense will tee off with a big lead, and it's going to be a very, very, very rough game for Bryce Young. Number 2, the New York Jets. They just got blown out the building. They just got so much time of possession. So many plays ran against them. It was a Shanahan chess match while, Saleh was playing checkers, man. And now they get the Tennessee Titans. The Chicago Bears just held the Tennessee Titans to 127 passing yards. Now you get the Jets defense. I know it's still in Tennessee, but this is going to be a bounce back game for the Jets. The defense is pissed off. I'm thinking Hassan Reddick will probably be back with the Jets this week after what happened in week 1. And they're going to bounce back and be a big, big play this week. San Francisco 49ers defense, man, when they're healthy, they look ridiculous, guys. They just obliterated the Jets. The Jets were supposed to be a high-end playoff team. I had them in 11 wins. I still think they're going to bounce back and be a good team. But damn, I mean, the 49ers are matchup proof to me right now the way they look. They were flying around the ball. Secondary looked great. Safety, having Hufanga back looked great. I got the 49ers at defense 3 this week at Minnesota. Number 4, probably the most dangerous defense in football. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going at Denver at Mile High. It's always a little different with the altitude there and the way you got to, get your oxygen, get your breathing on the side, substitute players in and out. This defense is going to be a nightmare for every single team they play. Joey Porter looked like he was locking up every single wide receiver. TJ Watt looks like the defensive player of the year. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick, this team is just on another level defensively, and they are going to light up the Denver Broncos. The most impressive defense to me that there was the Dallas Cowboys. I did not think that they would come out to Cleveland and just absolutely destroy them again. Another 17, double-digit plus point performance. They were the number 1 defense last year, and they're picking up right where they left off, even against the playoff team. The Dallas Cowboys now get the Saints at home. The Saints did look okay, but I still think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a force to reckon with all year. If you got Micah Parsons out there anytime, it's ridiculous. Tier 2 for the defense is number 6. The Chicago Bears absolutely destroyed Will Levis. They do have a very bad matchup, but I am all in on the Chicago Bears, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they are the 2 bad boy defenses that are just out there for blood, man. And CJ Stroud is going to be in trouble this game. And you also have one of the top premier corners in Jalen Johnson, which is, if you watch my wide receiver video before, which is why I'm sitting Nico Collins this week, and everyone called me crazy. But the Bears D is freaking nasty, man. They had to manufacture screens. They couldn't get anything downfield. They were harassing Will Levis at all points. It's going to be a rough game for CJ Stroud this week. The Kansas City Chiefs defense. Now, they lost Snead, which he went to the Titans. He's a lockup corner. They get Cincy, man. The Patriots just held Cincy to 10 points. I know they got a fumble at the 1-yard line, and when he was going in the end zone, and they got a punt muffed, and there was a lot of miscues for the Bengals in that game that cost them that game. But I'm gonna say start the Chiefs D, even if Jamar Chase and Higgins and Burrow and everyone's out there. The Bengals just looking at disarray. If they don't show me something here this week, I'm going to be really, really worried about the Bengals. I know they have a tough matchup, so if they lose to the Chiefs, I won't be like, oh, they're done. But I want to see them show up at least in this game. Number 8, the Cleveland Browns. Man, my number 1 defense on the year. It wasn't their fault, dude. So if you go back and look at the game, I mean, the offense didn't do anything. So when you're out there all the time on the field, it's like the Jets, man. They were out there all the time on the field. The defense gets tired. They get sluggish. They get ran over. They start to pound the run on you, and it just gets ugly. Now the Cleveland Browns are going to get the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jaguars just struggled to run, period, until the end of the game when Tank Bigsby finally broke loose. This could be a massive game here for the Browns defense at Jacksonville. I think if they don't show up here, it could be a long season for the Browns starting 0-2. Deshaun Watson's going to start to be in a hot seat. It's Stefanski. I like Stefanski. I think he's great, but they got to show up this week. Number 9, one of the plays you should pick up on the waiver wire for free that will be there left over tomorrow morning, I promise you, is the Indianapolis Colts D. Now, why? The Indianapolis Colts D is terrible. They just got shredded by the Texans. Joe Mixon went for 30. Every wide receiver went for 20. Tank Dell could have got a touchdown in the end zone. Dalton Schultz had 40 yards. Everyone went, not Dalton Schultz didn't go off, but everyone had a game, right? Why do I want to pick up the Indianapolis Colts? Because they're playing the Packers, and Malik Willis is the quarterback. If you see Malik Willis play quarterback, you know this is a streamable defense 100%, and you should be picking up the Indianapolis Colts versus Malik Willis 100%. Number 10 was my number 2 defense last week, the Seattle Seahawks. What they did was different than what I thought. So the defense is a lot better with Mike McDonald as the head coach, 100%. The Baltimore Ravens, he's from the defensive coordinated side, but they didn't get after the quarterback. So that's what you need for points. They didn't force turnovers. I think they had like 1, but they held them. The defense was good in every aspect of the secondary and the linebacker core. Just didn't get the turnovers and points. Now you get New England. This is like a smash play to me, but I want to see them get after the quarterback and make some turnovers more. But I'm going to leave the Seattle Seahawks at number 10. To recap, for everybody, hang on. For everybody that's listening on Spotify or Apple, my kicker rankings, number 1, Brandon Aubrey, Jake Moody, Harrison Bucker, Justin Tucker, Kai Fairbairn. Tyler Bass, number 6, Jason Sanders, Jake Elliott, Younghoe Koo, Jake Bates. That rounds out the top 10. Defensive side, Los Angeles Chargers. You should pick them up off the wire tonight if you can. Don't spend any money. Don't waste any crazy, top bid, but they're a great defense to have. Jets are number 2. Niners are number 3. Steel Curtain is number 4. Cowboys number 5. Chicago Bears defense is so gross that you can start them any week. They're number 6. Kansas City Chiefs 7. Browns 8. Colts versus Malik Willis is a great stream play, number 9. And the Seattle Seahawks versus at New England, number 10. That is it for episode 41, everybody. Thanks for rocking with me all day today. Before we get to what's happening next, make sure you smash that like, smash that subscribe, turn that bell on so you know when I'm going live. If you have any fantasy football comments, let me know. Any questions there is. I got my quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, defense, and kicker video all out today, guys. All here to help you win your fantasy football leagues. I put a lot of time and effort into this stuff. So all the support you guys have given me has been appreciated across all the platforms. I can't thank you guys enough. Tomorrow, I will be diving into my stardom sit-ems for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow, man. SleezBall out. I am tired.